she thought was in this, but it was...
Because she loved you?
No, she was attracted to me. I know she wasn't in love with me.
They once believed he could never be touched. His wives, his children, even his loyal fans thought Kody Brown was untouchable. But inside that courtroom, the illusion shattered. When the judge demanded answers, Kody was forced to speak, and his words failed to impress. The courtroom was packed beyond capacity. Every bench groaned under the weight of restless bodies. The air itself pulsed with tension. This wasn't just another hearing. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. The long-awaited downfall of Kody Brown, the self-proclaimed patriarch who once paraded proudly across television screens. Cameras clicked furiously. Reporters scribbled notes, their eyes glued to every flicker of expression. Ex-wives, ex-fans, and curious spectators leaned forward, their faces twisted with anger, curiosity, and thinly veiled satisfaction. And then, crack. The gavel struck. The sharp sound silenced the room instantly. The judge, a stern woman with piercing eyes, leaned forward. Her voice thundered across the chamber. "Mr. Brown, this court demands an answer. Where did the money go?" The words fell heavier than the gavel itself. All eyes turned to Kody. The man who once radiated confidence now sat trembling at the defendant's table. His once polished hair hung limp. His knuckles whitened as he clutched the edge of the table. His eyes darted desperately, from judge to papers to his attorney, but found no lifeline. The silence was suffocating. Everyone knew this was the question Kody could no longer evade. He had dodged it in interviews, brushed it aside with his wives, laughed it off when fans speculated. But here, under oath before the law, there was nowhere left to hide. His lawyer whispered frantically in his ear. Kody nodded, swallowed hard, and cleared his throat. His famous booming voice cracked into shards. "Your Honor, it's not what it seems." "Stop!" The judge cut him off coldly. "This is not a reality show. This is a court of law. You will answer directly." The tension tightened. Reporters scratched pens furiously. A woman gasped in the gallery. Kody's lips parted, but no words came. He tugged at his tie, wiped the sweat from his brow, every movement betraying his panic. The judge's eyes locked on him like a predator. Slowly, firmly, she repeated, "Where did the money go?" The crowd leaned in as one, breath suspended. This was no longer curiosity. It was anger, frustration, a collective demand for truth. His wives sat among the audience, their emotions carved into their faces. Christine's eyes blazed with long-awaited vindication. Janelle sat rigid, arms crossed, her lips a hard line. Mary's expression was unreadable, but her glistening eyes betrayed years of heartbreak. Robin dabbed at her tears. Whether for Kody or herself, no one could tell. The judge slammed her hand down again. "Mr. Brown, this is your last warning. Answer, or face consequences you cannot escape." His lawyer tried to object, but the judge silenced him instantly. Kody was on his own. The room turned colder. Dozens of eyes pierced into him. He trembled, gripping the folder of documents, as though it could shield him. Finally, he drew a shuddering breath. His voice cracked like a man drowning. "Your Honor, I don't know if I can..." The judge's voice struck like steel. "You will, or we will assume the worst. And believe me, assumptions are far harsher than truth." The gallery erupted in whispers. "He knows where the money is. He's hiding it!" The bailiff barked for order, but the chaos spread like wildfire. Kody slumped lower, the weight of every accusation crushing him. The judge tapped her pen against the bench, slow and deliberate. "This is your final opportunity, Mr. Brown. The truth will come from your lips, or from the evidence stacked against you. Choose wisely." Kody's hands shook violently. His lips parted, silence stretching for what felt like eternity. And then, finally, his voice broke through, fragile and uncertain. "Your Honor, the money, it's not where you think it is." Gasps filled the chamber. Reporters surged forward. Christine's eyes widened. The judge snapped upright. But before Kody could utter another word, the gavel thundered once more. This session, is adjourned until Mr. Brown tells the entire truth. Pandemonium erupted. Shouts, flashing cameras, cries of outrage. And at the center, Kody slumped pale and broken, a man whose secrets were crumbling around him, heartbeat by heartbeat.
This moment, I'm sitting there going, no, keep one lot, sell the rest. No, sell the whole thing and get out of here.
The fortune that once seemed endless had vanished without a trace. But it wasn't just the missing money, it was the betrayal. Christine felt manipulated, her sacrifices tossed aside as worthless. Janelle felt deceived, her careful planning ignored. Mary felt humiliated, realizing her loyalty had been repaid with treachery. Even Robin, still clinging to Kody, could no longer ignore the sting of broken promises. The children weren't spared either. They watched their mothers suffer, their homes collapse, and their futures cloud with uncertainty. What was once presented as a big, happy family now lay in ruins, poisoned by resentment and mistrust. One of the older children said it best. "We grew up on TV, but we were living a lie. Everyone thought we were rich. They never saw the fights, the stress, the fear there wouldn't be enough." By the time Kody sat in that courtroom, his image as a father and husband was already destroyed. This wasn't just a legal proceeding. It was the culmination of years of mistrust, secrecy, and betrayal. Christine sat with arms crossed, her stare burning holes through him. Janelle's silence was deafening, the silence of someone who had suspected the truth all along. Mary's eyes carried sorrow, but even she had no sympathy left to give. Robin clutched a tissue, her last threads of hope unraveling. They weren't just watching a trial. They were watching the final verdict on a man who promised them everything, but delivered nothing. Christine's haunting words echoed, "It's like pouring water into a bucket with holes. No matter how much we worked, the money just disappeared." That single line became the symbol of the family's collapse. Now the world demanded to know who had made those holes and where had the money gone. The media devoured the story. Headlines screamed betrayal. Talk shows dissected the missing millions. Social media exploded with outrage, memes, and conspiracy theories. But for the wives and children, this wasn't entertainment. It was heartbreak. It was years of devotion wasted. It was trust shattered. The courtroom grew heavier by the second. The hum of fluorescent lights, the scratch of pens, the restless shifting of bodies on wooden benches. All of it drowned beneath the suffocating silence. And at the center sat Kody Brown, pale, sweating, clutching his folder as if it could shield him. His jaw was tight, but his eyes betrayed the terror twisting inside. The judge leaned forward, her robe draped across the bench, her voice cutting the silence like a blade. "Mr. Brown, this is your last opportunity. Where was the money spent?" Her words weren't a question. They were an order, a judgment, a sentence. The room stilled. Christine's jaw locked. Janelle's eyes burned unflinching. Mary looked torn between grief and fury. Robin clutched her tissue with trembling hands, whispering a prayer. They weren't witnesses to a trial. They were witnesses to their own lives, broken and dissected for the world to see. Kody's attorney shot to his feet. "Your Honor, respectfully, my client has the right to—" "Sit down, counselor," the judge snapped, slamming her hand on the bench. "Your client has had rights. He has had time. What he hasn't, given his answers, and this court will have them today." The lawyer slumped back into his seat, defeated. Kody was alone. His breathing grew ragged. His chest heaved in sharp, uneven gasps. Sweat streamed down his face. He yanked off his tie, gasping as if the walls themselves were closing in. For years, he had been the master of his world, the master of his family, of the money, of the story they all lived. But now, under the harsh glare of courtroom lights and the relentless gaze of the judge, that mastery crumbled into dust. The judge's eyes pierced him like a hawk zeroing in on prey. Her voice was merciless. "Millions passed through your hands, Mr. Brown. Contracts, book deals, appearances. Your wives worked, your family sacrificed. And yet when they left, there was nothing left for them. Not a single dime. Where did the money go?" The weight of her words shook the chamber. Kody's hands trembled as he flipped through papers, though he wasn't reading them. One sheet slipped and fluttered to the floor. He bent to pick it up, his movements clumsy, desperate. At last, he spoke. His voice was low, fragile, each word costing him dearly. Some of it went into investments, some into land, some into businesses, and some, he faltered, licking his lips nervously, some into accounts. The judge leaned in, eyes narrowing. What kind of accounts? Were they in your name? Kody froze. His knuckles whitened around the folder. His eyes flickered to his attorney, who gave the faintest shake of his head, a silent warning. But the damage was already done. Kody's voice cracked, his words trembling out into the air. Not always! The room exploded, gasps, scribbling pens, flashing cameras. Christine's eyes widened in fury and triumph. Janelle shook her head, in disgust. Mary pressed her hand to her mouth. Robin broke into sobs. The judge slammed the gavel, shouting for order, but the chaos could not be contained. The meaning was clear. Kody had just admitted to funneling money into accounts not under his own name. When the noise finally died down, the judge's face was rigid with fury. Her words shook the courtroom. Mr. Brown, what you have admitted is fraud. Do you understand the seriousness of what you've just confessed? Kody's lips moved, but no sound came. The man who once controlled everything now sat voiceless, cornered, and exposed. The judge turned back, colder than stone. You exploited everyone who trusted you. Your wives, your children, your community. The evidence of your guilt is vast. This court will not tolerate such dishonesty. Kody sagged, head in his hands. He no longer resembled a patriarch, only a man cracked by the weight of his own choices. Reporters raced to send headlines. Within minutes, feeds lit up. Judge denounces Kody Brown for fraud, chaos in court as funds concealed, ex-wives react to shocking admission. Outside, the world buzzed, timelines ignited, hashtags trended. Kody Brown was no longer a man, he was a warning. Order crept back into the room, but nothing about it felt the same. Kody sat slumped, ashen. His attorney spoke urgently into his ear. He didn't move. Decades of image-making, faith, family, leadership lay in shards. The wives no longer saw a leader, the children no longer saw a father to emulate, the public no longer saw a star. They saw the truth, a man undone by his own greed. The judge struck the gavel one more time. This court will reconvene for sentencing. Understand this clearly. Fraud of this magnitude carries severe consequences. Mr. Brown, your future hangs by a thread. The gavel fell, sharp and final. The gallery erupted yet again. Cries, whispers, a whirlwind of shock. Christine wiped her tears but kept her chin high. Janelle stood resolute. Mary said nothing, her tears steady as rain. Robin clutched a last shard of hope. Kody stared ahead, hollow-eyed, as the weight of collapse finally settled. The court had been shaken to its foundations by what was revealed, but no one expected what came next. The judge's face hardened further, her voice iron. Bailiff, take Mr. Brown into custody, effective immediately. The room inhaled as one. Christine exhaled, stunned, finally. Janelle closed her eyes, tears slipping silently. Mary covered her mouth, a soft sob breaking hearts. Robin folded into herself, gripping her chest as if the words had struck her body. The tall, even-keeled bailiff moved at once, boots thudding on the wood, each step a dark bell. He stopped beside Kody's table, hand hovering near the cuffs. Kody Brown, he ordered, firm. Stand up. Kody flinched as if jolted. His eyes flew wide. Wait, please. This isn't necessary. I can explain. Stand up, the bailiff repeated. The room leaned forward, breath trapped. The fall of the once mighty had arrived. Kody shoved back his chair, hands raised as if to block the inevitable. Your Honor, please, you don't understand. I wasn't stealing, I was protecting. I did what I had to do for my family. The judge's eyes narrowed. Your family sits behind you. They are the very people you betrayed. Do not insult this court with hollow excuses. The words pierced him. He looked back at the wives. Their faces were stone. agony, disappointment, fury. The bailiff gripped his arm. Metal clinked. "No, please!" Kody cried, voice high with terror. He tried to pull free. The bailiff didn't budge. "Don't make this worse," the officer warned. The cuff snapped shut. Click. Gasps rippled. Flashes burst as cameras captured the image. Kody Brown, once a symbol of control, now bound by cold steel he never imagined for himself. He didn't go quietly. "You can't do this! I'm not a criminal!" The bailiff stood him up, voice even, practiced. "You are under arrest for financial misconduct," Kody blurted again, words tumbling. "It was for them, for the family. I never meant to hurt anyone." Christine rose, voice like ice. "Stop lying, Kody. You hurt us every day you hid that money." For a moment he froze, his face twisting between anger and shame. Christine didn't blink. "You always thought you were the smartest one," she said softly. "Look at you now." Janelle wiped her cheeks and stood. "We gave you everything, our trust, our work, our lives, and you threw it away. This is on you." Mary whispered through trembling lips. "I defended you too long. I can't anymore." Robin's sobs surged. "Please don't take him," she pleaded. "He's not bad. He's just lost." But the verdict had already been carried on 100 headlines. The judge raised the gavel, voice steady. "Mr. Brown, you are charged with fraud and financial misconduct. The evidence is conclusive. Your justifications have failed. Your reckoning begins today. Court is in recess." Bang! The gavel fell. The second cuff closed. Click. Kody slumped, shoulders folding beneath the weight. "Please," he whispered again, voice broken. No mercy came. The bailiff guided him forward. Each step echoed through the hushed chamber. Cameras crackled, devouring the image that would dominate front pages for weeks. Kody Brown, head bowed, wrists chained, led from the courtroom in disgrace. As he passed, his eyes searched the wives one last time. Christine turned away. Janelle stared, unwavering. Mary closed her eyes. Robin hid her face in her hands. In the end, the worst punishment wasn't the cuffs or the arrest. It was knowing. He had lost them forever. Outside, chaos reigned. Reporters swarmed. Cameras rolled live. "Reality TV figure Kody Brown has been arrested," one shouted. "The sister wives patriarch charged with fraud after a dramatic admission," said another. The fall of a man who once claimed to have it all. The door of the police vehicle slammed with finality. Inside the courtroom, the wives sat in stunned silence. Onlookers murmured, some shaking their heads, others nodding as if justice had finally found its mark. Christine exhaled a long, shaking breath. "It's over," she whispered. "It's finally over." Janelle set a steadying hand on her arm. "No, it's only beginning. Now the truth will finally come out." Mary brushed away tears. "He was supposed to protect us," she said, voice frayed. "Instead, he destroyed it all." Robin rocked gently, muttering, "He's not a criminal. He's not." But even she no longer believed it. The doors shut behind Kody and the bailiff, the thud echoing like a verdict. The man who once boasted of love, loyalty, and togetherness now left in chains, a shattered figure. The packed courtroom settled into a heavy stillness. Everyone knew they had witnessed something historic. And as the last ring of the gavel faded, one truth remained, haunting and inescapable. When you betray trust, when you choose greed over love, when you convince yourself you can outrun justice, justice catches up. His attorney leaned in, whispering urgently, but the judge's palm cracked against the bench before a protest could form. "Counselor, if your client refuses to answer, this court will treat his silence as confirmation." The words struck, like lightning. The gallery shifted. Gasps rolled into a storm. Flashes burst. Reporters leaned forward. The wives stared in stunned disbelief as Kody's fortress of secrets crumbled in front of them. From the back came a voice. He kept it hidden Then another, he lied for years. A third cut through the noise, he stole from his own family. The bailiff barked for order, but pandemonium had already broken loose. Christine rose, her voice trembling yet clear. I knew it. I knew he was hiding money from us. The judge hammered the gavel again and again. Sit down. Order, or I will clear this courtroom. Gradually the roar ebbed, but the tension hovered like a storm cloud ready to split open. When quiet finally settled, the judge spoke low and sharp as a blade. Mr. Brown, we are done with evasions. The game is over. If you think you can hide behind silence, you're mistaken. The truth will come, either from your mouth or from the evidence already in hand. Choose wisely. Kody's shoulders sagged. His face was chalk white, his eyes glazed. He no longer looked like the self-assured patriarch of old, only a man, staring into his own ruin, and everyone saw it. The silence stretched, agonizing. Pens hovered, lenses focused. The wives held their breath. At last, Kody whispered, barely audible, "It wasn't supposed to be like this." The judge sat straighter, her expression unreadable. Kody closed his eyes, his body shaking. He drew breath to spill it all when the gavel fell. This session is adjourned. Mr. Brown will return tomorrow prepared to explain everything, or face consequences beyond his understanding. The gallery exploded anew. The bailiff shouted, the wives whispered fiercely, reporters sprinted to file breaking alerts. Kody stayed frozen, speechless, shattered. The world now knew enough to understand one thing. The truth was larger, darker, and closer than anyone had imagined. The instant those two words, "not always," left Kody's mouth, the courtroom transformed. Gasps tore through the air. Murmurs became accusations. It was as if every person on those benches had been waiting years for proof of the truth they suspected. And now, in 2 syllables, they had it. Electricity snapped in the air. Cameras popped like lightning. Reporters leapt up, thumbs flying across screens to blast headlines that would circle the globe in minutes. The bailiff called for order and was swallowed by the chaos. Christine stood first, anger carrying her voice across the room. "I knew it. You kept money from us, Kody." Heads swung toward her. She stood straight, eyes burning with equal parts vindication and heartbreak. Years of betrayal unleashed in a single burst. Janelle rose next, shuddering, lips quivering. "We believed in you," she said, the words ringing out. "We worked, we sacrificed, and you deceived us, all of us." Mary didn't rise. She let silent tears fall. Her quiet said more than thunder. The stillness of someone who had hoped too long, fought too long, only to be made a fool in the cruelest way. Then Robin. She clenched a tissue until it tore, her sobbing uncontrollable. No, Kody. Say it isn't true, please." Kody said nothing. The crowd, a tangle of fans, reporters, and onlookers, erupted. "He embezzled from them," someone shouted. "All those TV years, what a scam! He stole from his own family to fill his pockets." The press gallery became a storm. Drafted headlines streaked across screens. Kody Brown admits secret. Accounts, courtroom chaos as sister wives patriarch falls, fraud allegations rock TLC star. The charismatic image was gone. In its place stood a sideshow of shame. The judge pounded the gavel, voice booming above the din. "Order, I will have order." But truth had detonated like a bomb. Control felt impossible. At last, multiple bailiffs advanced, their presence cutting through the noise until the room subsided, though tension still crackled like static. The judge's face hardened to granite, her gaze fixed on Kody. "Mr. Brown, you have admitted channeling money into accounts not in your name. Do you grasp the gravity of that?" Kody didn't answer. His silence condemned him more loudly than any confession. "This is fraud," she said, tone icy and unyielding. "This is calculated deception. You betrayed your family, your community, and now you insult this court." Each sentence fell heavier than the last. "You are not a leader," she continued. You are a manipulator who chose greed over responsibility. Today, the world sees you as you are. The silence that followed felt thicker than sound. Kody lurched to his feet, desperate. "No, you don't understand," he cried, voice breaking. "I was protecting the money. I was saving it for the family." The judge lifted a hand. "Sit down, Mr. Brown. Do not dress self-interest as nobility."